Mike Tomlin is the only coach that speaks on Tuesday. Who cares, you ask? Well, we that cover the NFL know when the coaches speak. Mike Tomlin is alone. He has the stage at noon Eastern every Tuesday. We haven't seen the Steelers since last Thursday when they beat Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans. They hung on fourth quarter. As scripted, Kenny Pickens marches him down the field. They then force the interception there on the shot to the end zone with no time left or whatever, a few seconds left, and they win the game. It was notable, however, after George Pickens was barely noticed by Kenny Pickens during that game. George Pickens, number 14, Pickett to Pickens, that guy, mercurial, let's call him wide receiver from Georgia that fell to the second round for, well, now you know why, issues. George Pickens scrubbed the Steelers from his social media. The Steelers are now back on his social media. But this is the first time that Mike Tomlin had been asked about it since.
How do you coach a young player like that?
Like breathing. It's easy. I know it's a cute story for you guys, but it is a pebble in my shoe, to be quite honest with you, in terms of the things that I have to do in an effort to get this group ready to play this week. Our focus is on the Green Bay Packers and what we're all going to do in this football game. And I can't state it any plainer than that. It's like reality television, the way you guys follow social media and write stories about it.
He looks so pissed.
He's annoyed.
Oh, man.
So,
pebble in my shoe.
I believe what he says, and I believe that he believes what he says. But what's left out there is, let's say, the video of when Deontay Johnson scored the touchdown, and he's celebrating like it's Shawshank because he hadn't scored a touchdown since, no joke, Ben Roethlisberger was quarterback. Yeah. And George Pickens, who lined up on the other side of the formation, touchdown went to the right, he lined up left, just turns his back and walks to the bench while everyone is celebrating. That was me, 5 yards on me. Bing!
$5.
Everyone is celebrating with Deontay Johnson, and George Pickens is just walking off. George Pickens was the first one in the locker room, the first to leave. By all accounts, by everyone covering the game. So that stuff is real. And George Pickens, who was the most talented receiver in last year's draft, fell to the second round for these reasons. That's why. You ask, why did he last to the second? Because of this. Talk to the people of Georgia. Not a bad guy, but, I mean, this stuff happens. This is who he is. Yep. So it is a legitimate question or line of questioning, I think, for Mike Tomlin. But I do give Tomlin credit. He finds a way to turn things around. A, it protects his player. B, it makes the media the bad guy. Mm-hmm. C, it changes the topic. So he's good at that. And yeah, I'd expect to see George Pickens get thrown at frequently this week when they play the Packers at Lambeau.
Home game.
No. In Pittsburgh, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, in Pittsburgh.
Yes, it should be a Steeler victory.
Packers, not a great team.
The Steelers, however, have been outgained in 8 consecutive games. The 8 games they've played this year. And they're 5-3 somehow through.
No idea how.
Those 8 games. Eventually, you would have to think there's a regression here and that their luck isn't always coming in and that they lose one of them. I just don't think this is the one in which it happens. But I love Mike Tomlin. We call him Tuesdays with Tomlin in the NFL Network newsroom here. You know, usually his opening soliloquy is roughly between 10 and 12 minutes before he takes a question. He comes up with great phrases, and Al Michaels was referring to this during the broadcast last week, like division of labor. His availability will depend on his availability during the week. I'm messing it up, but things like that. He's awesome.
We have
He's great
a hit
TV.
list of Mike Tomlin drops.
We're not going to apologize for winning.
That's one of our favorite ones.
What else we got?
Your phone, man. I may need you.
Keep going, Jay. Play them all.
Us sucking.
I don't even know what that was about. What's the high on my damn agenda? I don't know what that means. They're great.
I will let his availability be, or let his participation be our guide as to his availability.
What does he say? We want
participants,
not hostages?
Yeah.
Yes, we want volunteers. Not hostages in the
That's
current geopolitical climate. Maybe not the best line to use on the podium.
Well, that was
although
2
he
years
did not
ago.
It
use
was a couple years ago.
Yes,
yeah.
a couple of years, but he uses that line all the time.
Yeah.
He is a joy. And anyone that wants to hammer Mike Tomlin because he hasn't won enough Super Bowls, go around and look at the other teams and what they are dealing with, and then call me back. So there's that.
Never had a losing season
for George Pickens, and they have never had a losing season at any time.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.